I better not show my feet, though.
And welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm Kathy. I keep waiting for somebody to say I'm John.
I am kind of John, but not John.
John was supposed to be outgoing and doing a pool party today. So we invited Cpt Mizzy to join on the show today, but John is now in the audience because weather went poop. So, welcome to episode 180. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about RPGs. Not only are we talking about RPGs as in building characters, running games, one of the campaigns that I'm running right now, but also what happens when your campaign fizzles and just goes out.
By RPGs, I just want to clarify this. You're talking about rocket-propelled grenades, right?
No.
I mean, it's me. Anything is possible here.
My research went in a totally different direction then.
Cannons everywhere, Kathy.
I gotta rethink everything.
So we'll be going over that. Other than that, let's go and get started with our business. We are a creature creator. You may see us paint creature caster models from time to time. You will not see Kathy painting much of creature caster models on here anymore because Kathy is going to her own channel to paint her own miniatures. Yay!
That's the news. That's the news of the week.
We'll have more information about that.
I haven't started yet, but
we'll get that a little bit later. We want to thank Muse on Minis also for providing hosting and getting also our podcast out to many other people in many different ways. We also want to thank Lynn Stahl of Metalhead Minis for hosting some of our products where you can buy and get some of these items. You will be able to see dice, measuring widgets, a bunch of different things, so you can see all those out there. And Tectonic Crush Studios, Dan the Man. Dan creates some great FDM or MDF terrain that you can get on his store, and you'll be able to see it. If you're on Twitch, you can find links to all of these people down in our area and give them a shout out. Also, if you're going to go to Muse on Minis and purchase anything from there, make sure you use More Than Dice, all one word, and you'll get 10% off of everything you buy, your total price. So, which is great because it'll save you on shipping and et cetera, et cetera. So, other than that, so we have Cpt Mizzy. Cpt Mizzy is one of our mods on our channel, and Cpt Mizzy does a lot of role playing with us. That's the reason why Kathy was like, "Hey, get Cpt Mizzy." I'm like, okay.
I was partially manipulated because Gonzo texted me and was like, "Hey, Kathy wants you," and I'm like, I can't say no to Kathy.
So, okay, man. So
I'm lucky. I'm lucky that way. Mizzy can't say no to me.
Let's get some of the other stuff. Kathy, what are you drinking tonight?
Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic. Cpt Mizzy, what are you drinking tonight?
I am having Sprite and water because I am potentially getting sick and I cannot have alcohol. So you get a sober Mizzy.
I am almost finished with my Macallan 18, so I will be drinking that tonight.
Enjoy it for me.
As our guest, Cpt Mizzy, do we have any tributes that we have this week?
I know of one that I sent you because my childhood. It is the voice actress who did Muriel on Courage the Cowardly Dog. Thea White.
Aww.
Yeah, she did a bunch of voice acting and such.
Yes.
I know that there was also the guitarist on ZZ Top.
What?
What's his name?
Shit.
Let's see. Dusty Hill of ZZ Top passed away. 3 musicians passed away. A bass player, not yeah, a bass player. Joey Jordanson of Slipknot, Mike Howell of Metal Church, and David Bowie's guitarist John Hutchinson all passed away this week. So we had quite a few people, a lot of musicians, and a lot of them were old, except for Joey. They haven't said what or why, how he passed away. Just that happened in his sleep. Everybody else was getting up there in years. Other than that, Kathy, did you have any tributes? Guys, we want to make sure that you're being safe. Please wear your mask. Please go get your vaccine. We want to see you at conventions that are coming up, conventions that are going to be happening. And like most of us are going to be going to Adepticon this coming up year, which if you didn't see that cool miniature for the people that, gave their badges or whatever, was a really cool looking thing, which I did.
I did not see that.
Yeah,
he's adorable. He's like this little Mechanicus chibi.
Yeah. So you'll probably get mine, Mizzy.
Okay.
But we want to see everybody at Adepticon because that might be the first More Than Dice gathering in person. All of us at the same time.
All of us together in the same place.
Literally all of us. And it's my birthday weekend, so
even
please,
better.
Yes, I need to see your faces, okay?
So guys, please wear your mask. Please wash your hands. Please do everything that you can to stay safe. We want to see you in all the upcoming conventions.
We want to see everybody at HugCon 2022.
Yes.
So, yes. And actually, it'll be the first time that all 3 of us had been in the same room in person. Because I haven't seen John in probably 85 years. Kathy since Adepticon 2-3 years ago or something.
3 years ago, because you weren't able to go the last time.
Yeah, that one, and then of course last year I wasn't able to. So please, yeah. There's Legionnaire says there's no more please with me. Where's your bleeping mask?
Yes, Legionnaires. Yes.
So.
But Cosmic Cubicle, feel free to lick the floors if you want.
It's your floors. So, guys, be safe. We want to see you. Cheers.
Also, I'm drinking ginger tea, and it's hot and delicious.
Hot.
So, Captain Mizzy,
yes.
You are on this today because we're going to be talking about RPGs, and today's episode is going to be all about RPGs, but we asked you to come on because of certain things that have happened, not only with you, but also with me. Your RPG setting, how did you get started into being and playing RPGs, or even liking RPGs?
So, a long time ago in high school, I was on GaiaOnline.com, and I was in the forums, I was in a group, obviously it was pirate themed because, it's me. And I role played on there, and I liked the fantasy and the story and the escape and all that other stuff. So, and I hadn't played an actual D&D session with anybody until we attempted the Midgard campaign. I think that was in 2019?
Yeah, we attempted Midgard and it kind of folded.
Yes, that folded. So I think we might have got into 1-2 sessions, and that fell apart for reasons because it happens. And then, so I would say that my first actual campaign was our Rime of the Frost Maiden Icewind Dale campaign, which Becca DM'd.
But if I remember correctly, you listened to an RPG for quite a long time before you actually started playing.
Yes. I actually forgot about that. It was your Dawn of the Harbinger campaign. And I had emotional feels about that.
That was the Star Wars one.
It was a Star Wars one.
That was
Yes,
the
it
Star
was.
Wars one that Gonzo was. You were streaming that, right?
We were recording it.
Okay.
We didn't.
I listened to it on Stitcher, so like way past everything. I think it was a good chunk of the way in when I started listening, and then I had to wait forever for the ending.
Well, yeah, we got the ending and we finally got it. So, because one of the things that I told people when we were doing this campaign, the Star Wars, was like, I wanted this to have an end. I don't want this to be like a continuing, long drawn out. It says, this is the story I want to tell. I want to have this end, and this is where, it's going to have an ending type thing.
It was a roller coaster, but it ended.
It was very much in the Star Wars. We used the Fantasy Flight system for Star Wars, and it works out really well. Had some really good things. We had someone come in the middle of the game session and make a new character. But I remember many a times I would be at work or at home, and Captain Mizzy would be working, and I would get this text of, "The fuck happened? No, you're an ass. You dick. This is
Yes.
no. Why is this character?
All of this is accurate. I
And-
have no shame for my
Yeah.
emotions.
Because it was a big roller coaster type thing. And after we did that campaign, I said I wanted to do a new campaign, and so I asked Captain Mizzy if she wanted to play in it, and we did the Midgard. The Midgard campaign went off, but pandemic happened, and everybody started falling apart, and so on and so forth. And it was just like we did one story of the Midgard campaign, and it just kind of stopped. We had also tried using Roll20 and tried to push the envelope with a lot of stuff, and it just didn't work out. But at that time, the pandemic had fully hit in swing, and we were all burnt. We all know that time frame in our life when it was first happening, and we were all stuck at home.
Emotionally, physically, mentally exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah. So that campaign didn't go off. So we started up a new campaign, or Becca did, and we started up doing the Rime of the Frost Maiden campaign. And this is where you got to design your first character, really get into designing your first character.
My first official character that I actually got to play in depth. Yes. That would be Arjun, who is a non-binary warforged artificer. And in building Arjun, I struggled with it at first, but then Becca was really awesome at setting out times to where we could talk about it and brainstorm ideas and what fit what I wanted to play, what I was comfortable with. And that's how we ended up with Arjun, who, cooking, bartending, brews a hell cup of coffee.
Hell, a cup of coffee.
That Tomlin, played by Gonzo, was addicted to.
Yeah. Because I played a monk in this, and
You may.
he was a vegetarian monk, and the only thing he would drink was water and coffee.
Arjun coffee.
Susie may be amused to know that V had a character in a game that was an artificer, or not an artificer. She was Warforged, who also had a cooking skill, but was really terrible at it.
I can see that. I can see that out of V.
For reasons. Oh my god, it was funny.
So, the Rime of the Frost Maiden went off, and we got, 16 episodes in?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So about 40 hours worth of gameplay is what we played.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are within the module or the book. I just heard... so when I got with Becca and I asked if she would run this campaign, because I heard the Rime of the Frost Maiden was supposed to be this new, elaborate, cool, really good RPG, we decided to do it. But Rime of the Frost Maiden and all this stuff is a very deadly area. Characters can die.
There is no happy endings in the North.
Yeah, no happy endings in the North is what they say. And so we started playing, and the campaign was going pretty good for a bit. It was going pretty strong. We had some good character development, good story. Tomlin. Tomlin was a monk, and Tomlin was actually literally crazy. You probably won't. The campaign is pretty much stopped. We probably won't be picking it up. If we do, it'll be a long time in running. But Tomlin was a wood elf monk that was tortured by demons for 100 years, and so as a defense mechanism, he has multiple personalities and would constantly talk to himself out loud. And so during the campaign, I would like look over and say something in a weird voice, and then come back and answer that weird voice. And he had a thing where he didn't like anybody being wrongfully punished. And we had a
He gave
character.
away all of his gold.
Oh yeah, I
Too.
gave away every bit of my money. Like I was like, oh yeah, we got a ton of money, and I would just go around giving it away.
You were so insistent on getting paid, but then you would just give it away.
I gave away everything, everything. It didn't matter. But like the campaign also, like our group was called Gorga and Company because Gorga was the name of our barbarian, and that was the party leader because Tomlin decided to make the big strong guy our party leader with like
And
no charisma.
and
Like
Arjun did not want to be a part of that leader thing.
so, I mean, but our campaign was running really good. But in the last month, 2 months, we've had a lot of
Basically,
things
when
going.
Loki premiered,
It was a little bit before that, I think. We had a lot of issues with
yeah,
people being able to get online. And then a lot of personal issues like family issues, health issues, so on and so forth. That just it couldn't go. I mean, it does take a lot of
scheduling coordination.
yeah. I mean, because we got like myself and Mizzy are in the same time zone. Josh is in the time zone, and Jackie was also playing this, but she's in New York area, and then Becca is in Canada, roughly the same, 1 hour off, I think, is what
Yeah,
Becca was.
In the east.
yeah,
Yeah,
Eastern time.
yeah. So we had, and Jackie was okay with what time we were playing. Just we played for about 2 hours, but then personal issues arose, and it just started getting fewer and fewer times that we could play, and so it became a big scheduling issue, and people were having personal real life issues, and we're like, why don't we just put this on a back burner? Is this anybody's fault? No,
No.
it's life. That's what it is. And I think that's what the common thing about most RPGs that end is that they end because life type thing. Other than that, Kathy, I know that you were playing in some RPGs and they kind of fizzled out or anything. Like Shadowrun, weren't you supposed to be doing a Shadowrun campaign?
We we did we started Shadowrun and we were having fun with it. And then I think people just got busy with their own lives, and that's the thing that happens. It's it's rare to find a D&D group that meets on a regular basis, more than once a month even, and once a month if you're lucky.
Yes.
All the memes are
Where people
true.
don't have life things. It was so much easier like in high school or in college, but once you're past that and you have families and you have jobs and you have all these different things pulling you in all these different directions and every single person has different things going on, it's very hard to find a group that you can agree to meet on a regular basis. Now, I had a group that met every single Monday night, and that was a very rare thing. And I was with that group for a few years, and then last June, our game master died, and well, that was that. We did have somebody who tried to, jump in and run his own game, but he wasn't used to running uh, a non-tournament style game. Now, if there's people listening who have played tournament style D&D, it's a very different thing than just playing, casual at somebody's house.
Can you explain this the tournament D&D for me?
So I've never played tournament D&D, but my friend had explained it to me because every year for many years he would go to Gen Con, and at Gen Con they have uh, this tournament D&D, which is there's a judge at every table in the room, and every table has a group, a team, uh, and each person in the team gets the same character at every table. You don't like roll up your own special snowflake character. Uh, and the game master, every game master is running the same scenario. And so this group, you're running this group through it, and this group is trying to get through this in the time allotted. And I gather that you score points by succeeding at certain things. And also, bonus if no one dies and stuff. Now, like I said, I've never played, and I'm just going from memory of what this person told me. And he always sat next to me when we were playing our Monday night games, and he was always like in a rush. Like if somebody had questions or wanted to maybe retcon something that they didn't realize, he would always be like, fog of war, let's move on, let's move on. Let's, rush to the next, whatever, to the next combat, to the next plot point, to the next. I don't know what he was rushing to, honestly, because we were all just like, it's after work, we're going to come over and blow off some steam and shoot the shit and maybe roll some dice, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't understand what he was so in a hurry for us to get to. You know, I've had other people that I've played with in different groups that were that way. They're rushing to get to the next. I don't really know because there's no reason to be rushing through it. I mean, game time passes at the same time, no matter how much time you're just table talking, shooting the shit, or, you know, eating Doritos or whatever it is that you're doing to waste time, as long as you're having fun,
Yeah.
you know, as long as everybody at the table is having fun, it really doesn't matter how long it takes you to get from talking to this druid to solving his dilemma in a dungeon 3 days away. It it could take you 3 sessions. It could take you one session. It could take you a whole month of sessions. It doesn't really matter.
But you think that that was just because his mentality was, I'm used to playing as a tournament style GM, that it just
Yeah,
kind of
his
took it over.
mentality was very rushed, and I absolutely think that that was the reason why he not only did he run these tournament, he was a tournament judge. That's what they called it. So the judges are the people that run the games for each table. And so
That
he
sounds
ran,
very stressful.
yeah, he ran games for us. He ran us through this one module, and there's one guy in our group that I'm pretty certain has, I don't know, some kind of a anxiety thing or OCD of some sort or both, or something like that. Uh, and he's very particular, and he doesn't learn from when he messes up. So he'll make the same mistake over and over and over. And the other guy just has no patience for that. And I'm like, look, there's just people who are like that, whether it's from some brain quirk or some medication they're on or something. Uh, they shouldn't be penalized for it.
Yeah.
But he kind of was, when he started running the game and this guy was playing in it, he was a bit punitive. He really kind of punished this guy for that, and I just felt so bad. And by the end of every game, I was angry for this guy who kept getting punished for, yes, he was doing stupid shit, but we were all used to him doing that when this other guy used to run the games,
Mm-hmm.
and we accepted it and we moved on. But this guy running the game, the whole dynamic was very different, and it was very difficult. And it was hard for me just to watch him interacting with the different people, even though he's a friend of mine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we're friends. But it just hurt for me to watch him, treating people like this in a game. So I had to stop playing. And, I feel like if something's making you uncomfortable and you're in a game, role-playing game situation, do not be afraid to talk to your game master, whether they're the person that's making you feel that way or whether it's somebody else in the group that's making you feel that way. You definitely want to talk to people. And for me, it was just, look, I'm not having fun. I like, it's nothing against you as a person. Like, we're still friends. I'm not, I felt like I was breaking up with someone, right? It was very difficult for me. And I'm not a confrontational person. And I wasn't trying to, confront him. I just wanted to say, look,
I'm not okay with this.
This isn't my style of play, the way that you're running this game. This just isn't the way that I want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, bow out, and he understood, and everybody else understood. So I had to find something else to do on Monday nights. And then somebody else invited me to join their Shadowrun game. And the Shadowrun game was fun, and we all had, okay, so it was a fun game. It was a fun group of people, and the stories were fun. I had a problem with my character, though. I feel like I overstretched when I selected that type of character. It's I don't even remember what it's called. There was so much information with this character. It's like you needed an encyclopedia to keep up with all the different things they could do, all their skills, all their equipment, all their cybernetics.
Weren't you a street samurai?
Yeah, it was a street samurai. I am not the person who likes to keep a catalog of everything that they can do. I just want to hit things and kill them.
I kind of feel the same way too.
And a shield maybe, and just hit things.
Yeah, so I kind of ran into the same thing with Arjun, actually, because artificers just have so much stuff to keep track of that it got to a point where I talked to Becca and I was like, look, I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought that I would. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing this character the way that it should be played. And then that's when we actually talked about changing up my character and finding an exit strategy for Arjun. Which did not go as planned.
The exit strategy was death.
The unplanned exit strategy was death, because
that's always an alternative.
Mizzy is not the greatest at making decisions for their character.
John says, funnily, Street Samurai is the easiest archetype to play, pretty much. That's your opinion. Also, I didn't have the rules memorized.
Shadowrun can be that way. Shadowrun is very nothing like Champions or GURPS or stuff like that, but it is.
And when you don't have all the source books in front of you, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give me a bunch of PDFs, but that's insane. I'm not a computer, data person. That's not my job. I know there's a lot of people that stare at the screen all day and are able to pull up data all the time. I'm not that person. So it's difficult for me to find things in PDFs. So it was very difficult. Legionnaires makes a good point. A good GM can let you switch characters in Shadowrun. For me, it didn't even dawn on me that was what I was experiencing until after the game kind of stopped. So, I mean, the GM was like, I need to take a step back and take a break, and I need to do other things. So we were like, okay. And then we never heard anything else uh, about it after that. So
It just fizzled out. So that
yeah,
was magic.
and that happens with games.
Oh,
That's
it
happened
happens
with
a
tons
lot.
of games I've played.
Oh yeah, it happens. It happens a ton. There are many times. Okay, so I'm going to go back in 92, 93. This tells you how long ago it was. I was in the military, in the Air Force, and um, I had this weird schedule. It was 3 days on, 7 days off. My 3 days on were 12-hour shifts, and so on and so forth. And so it was the 7 days off I had were technically like 5 days off because the other ones were reserved for commander. So I had some friends that I met on the base, and we would play nonstop. We would technically get together and play nonstop like 3 days straight and everything because we were all off at the same time. We all, didn't have anything that we had to do. And so it was like 2 to 3 days of full time gaming. Of course, military, everybody moves, starts getting discharged or whatever, and it broke up. But it was some of the greatest times. I remember plenty of times we would start, a session. Hey, we're gonna get together, and we would role play until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, take a nap, and then go and play some more. Um, so I mean that was the thing. But I mean those are rare things to get a group that goes really crazy. Um, So I mean, there's difference between then and now. One, you can do everything electronically now, which is actually kind of cool because like, hey, I can't get together with people face to face. I can do it electronically. I've run an Earthdawn campaign. I've run it twice face to face, and it's been over a year long campaign. But I'm also one of the people that like to do campaigns that are like, I have a story I want to tell. There is an ending to this. So at the end of this story, depending on how long it takes you to get there, we'll be done with the campaign. Um, and that's what we're going to go with. And I've done 5 game sessions, and they last for quite a long time because I have a story that I want y'all to tell. I just want y'all to get there. Um, and so that's happened a lot. The ones that usually, I wouldn't say fall apart, are ones that really don't have an end, or it just keeps on going and going and going, and there's not a plot to go with. Or the GM just is like, oh, we're just going to go through dungeon after dungeon after dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. And you're like, okay. And there's no
Mm-hmm.
character development either, because to me, that's a big thing is character development. I had this really cool thing for my monk plotting and everything, and it all just kind of went. It's gone. No big deal. Things just happen. But yeah, I wanted to bring up that a lot of people cannot roleplay online. It is just a thing. Don't get me wrong. I would rather be face to face with some food and drink and across the table from people.
Absolutely.
But
I
yeah,
have not had the pleasure of experiencing such joys, so I'm looking forward to that.
um, online RPGs. Moses, just like any session, dude. I'm right there with you. Um, I am getting to play in a session again, so I'm like really super hyped about this one. So, but I was reminded about a campaign that I'm running. I'm running them with two of my old friends that I used to play with back in '92, Captain Mizzy, and two of my friends that I know from the local from the gaming community, and on Facebook. And um, we're doing something very different. I've done it before. And so this is something that I wanted to bring up because we were talking about different ways to play. And so I'm running the Dragon Heist book based in Waterdeep. I love Waterdeep. It's a great city. Forgotten Realms, cool world, so on and so forth. Um, so what we're doing is after Dragon Heist is done, everybody wants to go into Undermountain and explore it and do that. And I'm like, cool, got the book, we can do all this. But the one thing that we're doing is what was called a character tree. Everybody's creating 5 characters. And you have your main character, which is the character that's going to be in Dragon Heist, and then you've got 4 other characters that are supporting casts. And so when one character levels up, one of your other supporting cast characters level up also. And they all have to stay relatively the same level. I know. So this one goes to level 2, one of your other characters go to level 2. When your main character goes to level 3, one of your other characters have to go to level 2. So your 4 supporting characters um, have to pretty much stay around the same level. And the reason why we're doing this is, one, if someone's tired of playing the Paladin for a month, they can easily switch over to one of their other characters without
That
ever
is
having to worry.
interesting. That
On,
is an interesting way to do it.
yeah. Also, um, it's Ruins of Undermountain. Undermountain's deadly. And if something happens to that character, and they die, they can, immediately pick up with another character that's in the party. Um, we have one guy, he's playing an entire family. His entire family is Landry Boudreau. He is a southern bayou gentleman, and his entire family is a family of like wood carvers. And so like he's a warlock, his dad's something, and he's got like brothers. And so he's got the whole family tree as an actual family. Um, and yeah, it's exactly what it was from Dark Sun, because Dark Sun was a stupid, deadly world too. But we were doing this, and it's. So we're running through the campaign. It's a great module. It's a great thing. It actually can be tailored really well. But we have people that are crazy. And when I mean there is chaos in this campaign, there's a ton of chaos. But it's a ton of fun chaos. Like one of their best times that they do is they answer violence with more violence. They answer peace with more violence.
The brothers' introductions.
Yeah, so we had these. Mizzy's playing a Kinku, which only can repeat what other people say. And then the other people are playing goblins, and they're actually technically brothers, and they've adopted Mizzy's Kinku as their brother.
That is because Mizzy had this spark of improvisation. And don't ask me where it came from, but I think it might have been the fact that I can only mimic what other people say. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And in like the first session, I basically forced them to adopt me, because in the first introduction, it was, I just piped up with, "We're brothers."
And so, but what it is anytime
proudest moment ever.
anytime that the group meets someone new, 3 of the 5 party members have this saying, and they have to go through it. I'm Dean Smith. This is my brother Al, Sam Smith, and and it goes, and they do this. All 3 of them do this little triad, we're brothers type thing.
You've already messed it up, Gonzo. It's Dean says, "That's Sam Smith." Sam goes, "That's Alomar Smith," and then I go, "That's Dean Smith," and then we all say, "We're brothers."
All at the same time. And
it's fantastic.
It's kind of like their brother Daryl.
Bedion, I was thinking the same thing. I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl.
Yeah, and so it happens all the time, and eventually, there's.
And when you break the brothers up, it messes everything up. Yeah. Don't break up the brothers.
And when their paladin leaves, they go in complete chaos. Everything goes in complete chaos. It's a lot of fun. It's not taken very serious, but they've gotten into some trouble. They've caused some issues.
Our paladin got into some trouble.
Yeah, their paladin got thrown in jail for a little bit. But I mean, there's just these things that happen, and this chaos that's in the game, I think we're on episode 16? And they're about an hour and a half to 2 hour game sessions, because we're trying to keep it, where everybody can still have their life and do things. Excuse me. And they possibly could have been done with a module by now, but we're letting it, I'm letting it run its course. You let the players run their course and run their thing. I'm not one to push you. I'll tell you if you're getting off track or you're like, hey guys, y'all have got XYZ. Um, y'all need to figure out what's with XYZ because if not, you're just going to be sitting here just burning time, type thing. So, um, yeah, we also have one of them's a warlock, one of them's a wild mage, and then Mizzy's a rogue. So it's quite interesting. And we have another warlock, Landry Boudreau, which is actually our speaker. He's usually our talk. He's usually the talker of the group, and he does a Southern gentleman accent the entire time we play. So it's even
I'd
better.
say it's a good balance between Creed and Landry being the speakers.
Yeah,
They
Landry.
don't let the brothers handle things.
No, if the brothers handle things, it would be because the brothers are goblins dressed up in tuxedos, pretty much. Um, but it is a very chaotic game, but it is very still. You've got to get ABC. I just don't push the guys like go 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 like you were saying. Like guys, here are your options. Next game session, y'all figure out what you're gonna do. And they communicate outside of the game saying, okay, we got to get this and this done because this is not working because there's not a timeline on this game. It's just eventually you're just gonna be spinning your wheels because they also own a bar and they've got to figure out their profits and their margins. They've got were rats in their bar,
Can't they just
or
hire an
rats, I should say.
accountant to
Just
figure out
overs.
that stuff?
Do what?
Can't they just hire an accountant to figure out that stuff?
Oh, they
Don't they
have.
have a manager?
They have.
There's shiny things.
Yeah, they've got all.
Shiny
They've
things kept in pockets.
yeah. They've got debts to pay off, but they also got gangs that are fighting. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this campaign. But I mean, it's meant to be this chaotic fun. Um, and there is a story. They're still following it, but they've got like four branches that they have to go off. So they have to figure out which one to go. And if they go, they go. I just let it. You just okay, you're gonna go follow this timeline. Go follow that timeline, and we'll get back to it on the other end. But they're gonna finish. Eventually, they'll finish the Dragon Heist module, and then we'll move on to character trees and mapping and going into the ruins of Rhino Mountain, where it'll be not serious, but it'll definitely be, a little bit scarier type thing. They have decided a couple of times that they shouldn't have continued on in the adventure and just left the dungeon, but they went on anyway, and people almost died.
Specifically, I almost died. Thank you.
So Mizzy's is still kind of new to the D&D world, and she didn't know what a mimic was.
It's not that I didn't know, it's that I was not expecting you to be so mean. But then I should have expected that you would be so mean.
So in this one
That was
room,
my
there's
own
this
foolishness.
chest, and she's the only one at this chest in this dungeon. It was just an underground lair. And she was like, oh, a
We
chest.
were
And
in
she
the
goes,
sewers.
yeah, it was in the sewers. And she went up and she goes, oh, a chest. I'm going to go unlock
Shiny!
it. Ah! And, the mimic gets her.
And I got 8. I was a mangled
Oh,
chicken.
welcome to D&D.
Yeah. So, that's just a thing.
Everybody has to learn how dangerous treasure chests can be.
Yes.
But again, bird brain, shiny, must have the shiny.
Oh, absolutely. I understand that. I once had a character that was a crow. She was 11 and a half, and she was a crow that could shapeshift into a human girl. But she was a crow. So
Okay.
that was her thing too. Shiny and also eyeballs. And I remember one time my character was crouching over an orc that was trying to kill us, and he was lying there close to death. And I go, I'm gonna eat your eyeballs now. And my friends all at the table are looking at me like this like 11-year-old girl like with a spoon in her hand.
I love it. That's fantastic.
So,
You
so that's the
know,
thing. Let's talk about characters for a second, because I finally got to design my own character that I haven't been able to for a while. And so, whenever you're designing and making your own character, what do you think about first? Do you think about like class? Do you think about race? Do you think about concept? Um, Kathy, what do you think?
what do I think?
Yeah.
It's not always the same thing for me. And sometimes it depends on who's running the game. Sometimes it depends on who I'm playing with. And sometimes it just depends on what mood I'm in. There's there are a number of different things that influence me, and sometimes if there are tables for every single decision, I'll just roll dice. And I'll be like, okay, it looks like I'm human. Okay, it looks like, I'm a barbarian. Okay, it looks like I'm this, I'm this, and I just roll on all the tables to get my and you know what? Sometimes not making any decision like that and then coming up with your personality and everything just based on this criteria that's laid before you can be really interesting and fun.
Yeah. For example, I usually wait to find out where we're playing and what we're doing. So a friend of mine, Josh, is running a D&D campaign, and the Fey world is actually pushing its way into and influences the real world, the D&D world, a lot. So the Fey are very prevalent in this homemade world of his. They cause a lot of mischief, a lot of things going on, so on and so forth. And so I decided to come up with a concept. I haven't played a spellcaster in forever, so I decided I'd never played a warlock. So I'm playing a Fey warlock. So I'm a Fey race that is actually disguising herself as a halfling because she caused too much trouble in the Fey world that she's hiding from the Fey world. So she's disguised herself, and her race legally on character she's a fae, but when people ask her or whatever she portrays as a halfling. They're like, because she doesn't have wings, nothing like that. She is a uh, halfling warlock that uses a sword. And so she has this problem that she's always hiding from the Fey world and doesn't want anything to do with the Fey because of, and I don't want to spoil the story too much because Mizzy's in this campaign that um, she's running from the Fae and trying to hide from the Fae for something she did when she was living in the Fae world. So she has a disguise kit, so on and so forth. So I am housebroken. Um,
Juicy, he is annoying, is what he is. We love
Hey,
him, but he
Billy.
is
Billy's
annoying.
here.
so that's usually how I usually find out what my GM's running, and then just kind of go with a character concept based on that, especially if something I haven't ever played before. So it's just kind of
You know what's
interesting to me.
funny? And I was talking about rolling up random on tables and things like that, but last week my friend was doing his every other week community world building
Mm-hmm.
stream. And in this stream, we are all coming together in the chat to help him flesh out a world in which he's running a D&D campaign. And as the world grows and expands, the players that have just started out can expand and go to other areas of the world. And this goes for naming towns and figuring out what buildings are in the town, what kind of government is in the town, what kind of characters inhabit the buildings, who's the blacksmith, who's the mayor, what are their names. All these different things are being decided in the chat. And accidentally, my V and I were in the chat,
Of
and
course it was Z.
we came up with an idea, a concept to uh, be conjoined twins. I was like, wouldn't it be neat if we were like conjoined twins? we started out with it's for D&D. So we were talking about, okay, so we're conjoined twins. And what if we're fraternal twins? And somebody else is, what if you were like a half orc and a half elf? So like you're both half, but she's like the half orc and I'm like the half elf, and she's a barbarian and I'm a sorcerer. And she's a storm barbarian and I'm a storm sorcerer. And we just always arguing with each other about how we should solve whatever problem is in front of us. And she always wants to solve it with, an axe or something, a club.
Violence
And
with more violence. Yes.
and I want to solve it with like fire, because duh. Oh, but yeah, so there's this concept that we started talking about, and we're like, now we just need to find somebody, a GM, who would want that in. Yeah, exactly, Bowie. It would end up being both, of course, but just really being able to go in depth in role playing, uh, conjoined twins as characters, you know, and not trying to make a mockery of it, just seriously, just being two people who are joined together. And we thought how interesting it would be. And there's somebody else who is talking about running a game recently. Not D&D. Well, possibly D&D, but possibly one of a couple different other fantasy games. So we may actually get to play this character. And if we do, I will talk about it on the podcast. Should be fun.
Mizzy, what about yours?
I'm like Kathy. I say it's a little bit of both or all of the above. So like, what again with Argent, it was talking to Becca and being like, okay, what's a good fit for me? Like, what do I want to play? What sounds exciting? And then like with Alimer, I was like, well, this sounds cool. Why not? And then I actually built a character based off of like my fantasy pirate me version, and I named her Shax, who's a tiefling rogue pirate. And I actually have a miniature printed off and primed so that I can use it, take pictures and use it. It's really cool. But like I can imagine the Shax being like this super charismatic, but like just chaotic pirate, basically. And then other times it's okay, I need a character, like what sounds good, like what have I been watching type thing. I built a war domain cleric based off of Kratos and Vavatos Vex from the Trollhunter series. So it really just depends, I would say.
Sorry, I was stuffing my face with homemade chocolate chip cookies, freshly baked.
Well, aren't you
Baked? Who
special?
bakes them?
Who bakes them?
Who bakes them when you can eat them right out of the bowl in dough form?
It depends on if you need to beat batter, not faces.
Sure, that's a
Right,
paddling.
John? Eating on stream, that's a paddling.
Sorry, those were just good. The concepts that I come through, I don't ever get to play very rarely. And there are times that I was like, you know what, I think I might pay someone to run a game session because there's plenty of people that do this. Because I've always wanted to see what it's like, to see someone, to see what it's like to play in a paid game and stuff. But I mean, I always try to figure out which, you were talking about having so many issues with character sheets and all the different things that go along with the character. D&D Beyond has been very good for people that have that issue because it calculates everything together for you. It makes it a whole lot
Yes.
easier for especially for new people. It's been a very good thing for a lot of new people
I
to build
think
their characters.
while that makes it easier to build a character if you have time constraints and if you don't have the books.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you
Uh,
don't know what you're
it's
doing.
it's valuable. It is a valuable tool to actually read the the player's handbook at the very beginning has a very simple way of building your character from scratch to first level. Very easy. Uh, yes, you do have to go back and forth from your class to how you build the character, and flip back and forth. And but it explains the math. And if I can figure out the math, anybody can figure out the math.
Are you
But
sure about that, Kathy?
it oh yes.
Math
It's
is
very
math is
helpful to
hard.
actually look at the book and see how the math works so you can be like, "Oh, okay. Okay." It really helps you understand. It's important
So
to know this mechanic, and it really isn't that complex.
No, but I mean, the one thing that I do like is there are a lot of people that probably would have never played if it wasn't for the online and that program, because it makes it so simple and so easy for people.
John,
So,
I might lose points with you, but I have to point out that in our Twilight of the Fae campaign, I made a I made my character basically the guardian over lycanthropes. So I have to give this one to Banyan. I'm sorry.
but there's a lot of good things that are out there for a lot of people to help with things. Now, I wish there was more out there for other game systems because there's a lot of good game systems like Shadowrun could have that. You could have, you know, a character builder for that stuff. But I mean, of course, it takes money to do all that stuff. But I really think the one thing about all of this that goes through is we're all busy people. We're always doing something that these games, excuse me, we should be playing them for fun. And if you're not having fun with the game, you need to say something. Whether the player is being, a tournament GM, or it's just not a setting you like, or it's not a um, campaign you like, or the players aren't, it's not your style. Um, I never got to play
Party
the Mistborn.
chemistry too.
I
I'll
do
tell
what?
you one thing. I don't know where the session zero idea started. I'm not asking. I never did that when I was younger. We never planned things out like that, but I absolutely love that idea. I am sold 100% on everybody should have at least one session zero, if not two, to create characters together and create, the way in which all the characters know each other and everything. I feel like, and also to get together with the GM and the other players and talk about the things that you want to see and things that you absolutely don't want to see. Things that are
Correct.
like a hard stop or a trigger for you where you're like, I cannot deal with this particular issue, you know, ever. It's too real for me, you know
Correct.
and talking about things like that in a session zero, I it's an amazing concept. I am very grateful for whoever came up with it.
I, I've always, anytime I played a game session, we always got together, and our session zeros are character creation areas. And we all just kind of talk and like, ooh, I'm going to make this. Oh, cool. I think I want to make this, and so on and so forth. And, it's only been really recently that a lot of people have been pulling the card. Hey, that's a subject I don't want to, get into and don't want to talk about. Can you just take my character out of that, whatever? Which is great. Everybody should be able to feel like, hey, that is too much for me. I'm not going to be part of that type thing. And you should also tell people that if you're playing like prime example, Ravenloft. Ravenloft is a very, very dark and evil place, and you're like, this is a horror campaign. Do you want to play in a horror campaign?
Hmm.
No. Okay, then we won't. Then this isn't either for you. Either we can find someone else, or we won't play in Ravenloft. But that's also, you need to communicate with not only, your players, the GM's got to, this is what I want to play, and this is how I want to play it. Is this going to be too much for you, or whatever type thing? So
Yeah. I had a friend that I was gaming with, and her thing at the beginning was, I don't want romance in my I don't want PCs to try and be romantic with me. I don't want non-player characters to try and be romantic with me. That's not what I'm interested in
no.
playing this game. And I felt like that was a great thing for her to come out and say and be like, "Look, I don't want it. You all can do that amongst yourselves as player characters or NPCs, but don't be coming to me, as characters or NPCs with this."
Yeah, there was. I was playing in a Vampire Masquerade campaign, and we had a person that wanted to continuously, have a sexual theme, and it was okay because the vampire theme was prevalent. But this person wanted to role play sex, and I'm like, we're not role playing sex. No, you can have a romantic relationship, and you can say, hey, I'm going to take this person, and we're going to go somewhere else. Fine, we can leave it at that. This person was like, well, I want to take off her clothes. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that.
But you take the game master and go into the other room and do like the secret room thing for that.
Yeah.
You don't
Like,
all need to see that.
yeah. We don't do it that. We're like, yeah, the boot scene. That's the best way to do it. Is like, hey, I'm going to try to seduce this lady. Yes or no?
Legionnaires redeemed Hail Hydrate.
Hail hydrate.
I'm probably, well, no, Kathy hydrates.
Yeah, John is pretty much lights dim. The next scene, characters are putting on their boots. Yes, that's how we do it. That's about as far. But I don't want to role play. I take off her shoes, and I'm like, nope, done.
That's a totally different kind of role play.
Yep. So, it is actually media time.
Media time. Media time.
So, I have 75,000 things.
Of
Okay.
course you do.
Let's
I think I
talk
only have
about
like
gunpowder
5.
milkshake then.
What else is new here?
I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 things to talk about. Kathy, how many you got?
I have like 3.
Mizzy?
I have 2. And,
I
well, technically 3, but one is a YouTube video.
Okay. I'll go and go with mine, and it'll be quick and easy. I did finish watching Atypical. Atypical is about a story of a high school college student that has autism, and the day to day of life and the life of the sister, the life of the family type thing. It is a very good series. It is a drama with a little bit of comedy. The series finished. I enjoyed it a lot because it's a lot to see some of the things that the kid does. Not only by myself, but also the people I work with and my students that I've had. So I mean, it's a really good show. Um, it is a drama. It does get serious. It does get a bit of sappy at times, but I mean, it's just very solid. I like it a lot. I would probably give it 1 space RPs because there was one season where it was kind of just like meh type thing, but overall it was a very good series. I liked it a lot. Kathy, what you got?
I watched all of Loki on Monday. I
Uh, so
mean,
so should we wait till John so we can do all because we'll have to do a spoiler reveal.
yeah, that's right. We were gonna do that this week, but then okay, so next week we'll talk about. But I can still say that I enjoyed it.
Yes.
That doesn't spoil anything.
No.
I enjoyed it, and now I understand the memes. Thank you
You
very
you
much.
understand why I love it so much now.
Yeah.
It was very fun.
Because we're gonna do a spoiler reveal on it on next week.
Next week,
Um,
okay.
type thing. But you enjoyed it a lot. You
I
want to give us
did.
your preliminary space
I
herpes?
I'm not giving it any space herpes. It was a very fun ride, and I'm looking forward to the next season.
Cool.
Yes.
Mizzy, what's your first one?
Um. So let's go ahead and get the one out of the way. So I watched Gunpowder Milkshake last night, and honestly, it's a Gonzo problem, guys. Like I
I
enjoyed
told her
it.
it
I don't
was.
know what's wrong with
It
it.
totally
It's
is
a
a
Gonzo
Gonzo
problem.
problem. Yeah, it's a ride from start to finish. It's almost nonstop action. There's like a couple parts where it pauses in the action, and like I was saying earlier before we started the stream, there are a couple parts where it gets a little too touchy-feely girly, and right about the time where I'm like, oh, for the love of God, then it starts to pick up again.
Yes, I would agree with that for sure. Um, I was actually messaging Kathy during watching it, and I had noticed a detail that maybe she probably didn't because it's a Disney reference, but I liked how the costuming of the three librarians kind of sort of matched the fairy godmothers.
Yeah, if I was now wait, so the three fairy godmothers, which Disney is that from? Like I didn't
Sleeping
grow up
Beauty,
on
I think.
Disney cartoons. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty.
Okay. I was
But
I was thinking, was it Sleeping Beauty? Was it Cinderella? I don't know. I know there's a fairy godmother in Cinderella, but yeah. So yeah, I didn't grow up on the Disney cartoons like most
I'm
people,
a
I
'90s
guess.
kid. I can't help it, guys. But
See,
yeah, so hmm,
I was gonna say, what were you gonna give it?
I'd probably give it one, just because it is what it is. It's an action-packed movie. I enjoyed it. It
I
made
think
me laugh.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, I
still.
was gonna. I think did I go 1.5 or 2?
I think you went 1.5 to 2.
Yeah, because there were those couple of spots where it got slow and it's just started to get a little mushy, and I was like, no, man, why? This
Let's
is an
get back to
action
the
movie.
action.
Yeah,
Let's get
I'm
back to
in.
the ass kicking. Yes.
I'm not in this for the the Hallmark Channel moment. So yeah,
So
but yeah, very fun.
I finished playing a couple of games and was bored with a couple of MMOs I've been playing, and so I was trying to find a new game to play, something cheap, something that maybe has been gotten some upgrades or whatever. And so I went through my PlayStation list and was just like going through all of these games and going, yeah, yeah, no, no, and just going everything. And I ran across a game called Generation Zero. Generation Zero. I don't play WoW. Um, Generation Zero, and it is a game set in 1989, post-apocalyptic, alternate reality Sweden.
Huh.
And I was I like post-apocalyptic open world games, especially that have building and crafting and so on and so forth. The story is a group. Yeah, it's very specific. Yeah, people are leaving WoW for other reasons. And so robots have taken over Sweden, and they are attacking and killing people left and right. I'm still learning the story, still going it, but this game is huge, and I'm talking it is huge maps. The robots are super powerful. You have 1990s weaponry, so you're not you don't have large guns and all this other stuff. You have handguns and shotguns and rifles, that you can find. And there's a few military stuff here and there, but it is very much a, scrounge survival world. Very much a uh, Generation Zero Legionnaires. Very much a stealth ambushing game. I've only seen a couple of the large things. Not these yet. I haven't got there. I'm only. It is kind of like a 7 days to die, except for there's no base building, perhaps like you would normally. Like you can build a base anywhere. They just added base building, but only in one specific area, and I'm trying to get to there right now. It's just this place is freaking huge because you have to solve a quest to get to that. Um, the game was only like $14, so it wasn't a lot of money. No recurring fees or anything. You can play with you and three other friends. Um, I haven't got to the base building yet, so I'm waiting to. Um, but I'm really enjoying it. You have to be super careful because these robots are like, you know, super powerful, track you down for a long time. So you gotta, learn to bob and weave and get out of the way and do all this other stuff. It would be right now. I'm only giving it about a one space RP because I'm still in the beginning of it and still doing a ton of the missions. Nobody is because you can leave your game open that either only friends can join or random people can join your game. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. But it is, I mean, it's been really fun. Graphics are good. There's no complaints about that. A few minor bugs. I had a giant robot, and I would say giant, it's like 1.5 stories tall, glitch through the door and come into this house I was hiding in. Because your best tactic is shoot what you can, and if you get caught, run into a house, close the door, and try to hide away and be stealthy and everything. And so yeah, it's a small robot. um, the big ones are pretty scary, and they shoot like giant things. So, um, but one of them glitched through the door and got stuck through the door into this house, and so I was like scrambling around, hiding around corners, shooting in it, and hiding back and everything. So he's doing that. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. If you made it on PlayStation and you download Generation Zero, let me know. I'll let you in the game and we can play and try to survive because you have to use for some of the larger ones. You have to use guerrilla tactics like throwing EMPs, throwing
Gorillas.
firecrackers type stuff to make sure that you can take these down without them wiping you out. There's some cool videos on there if you want to see what it is, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. Kathy.
I watched a double feature on Saturday, starting out with Burn After Reading, because I went, what's free on Amazon Prime? And that's one that looked like it would be
Same.
fun. And it was described as a spy comedy. And I love John Malkovich and George Clooney. And I didn't even realize it was a Coen Brothers film until I was like halfway through it. And my friend was like, oh, yeah, this is Coen Brothers. And I'm like, ah, okay. This explains a lot of things. Uh, Frances McDormand was in it, Brad Pitt was in it, and the two of them as a pair of people that work at a fitness center and find something that they think is crucial, top secret intelligence data, and then they discover who owns this data, and then bumble their way through trying to trying to return this data in the hopes of getting a reward. But as they talk to the guy on the phone, he's he's a spy or a data analyst for the CIA, and he's thinking that they're blackmailing him, and so they end up actually blackmailing him. And Frances McDormand's character is only interested in getting the money so that she can pay for plastic surgery. And I, hilarity ensues. This is just this comedy. So John Malkovich is this character who's basically just been not fired, but might as well be fired. So he quits, and his wife is just played by Kate Blanchett, I think. and she's just the ice queen. She's just cold, controlling, manipulative, and she plays it so well. No, not Kate Blanchett. Or was it? Oh, who was it? I can't remember. Hold on. Let me see. Tilda
It's been a while.
Swinton.
I've seen it, but it's been a long time since I've
Tilda
seen it.
Swinton. It
Yeah.
was. And I felt like I should know it because she was so familiar to me. Couldn't think of the name. Anyways, so she's amazing as just this ice cold bitch. And everybody's having affairs with everybody else. And somebody accidentally gets killed. Just the whole thing was ridiculous. And in the end, it's what happens at the end is just it's perfect, really. The whole thing is absurd, and I loved it. And spy movies, but you know, that's just me. I give that one space for B. And I don't know why. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the way it ended. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did that." I was just staring at the screen. I'm like, and yeah, so worth it. So worth it. But yeah, one space for B. Not perfect, but very, very, very fun.
Cool.
It I called it a happy ending. Other people might not see it that way.
I watched Quiet Place 2, based off of Quiet Place 1, of course. It's a sequel and a direct sequel. Leaves off, it starts up where the movie left off. So it's complete 100%. Um, I really liked this movie. I liked Quiet Place 1. I thought it was very interesting. Uh, no, hold on. I liked this one a lot, for the simple fact that they explain what's happening and why these creatures are the way they are and where they come from. So it answers more than anything about what's going on in the series, um, or in the first one, because you didn't know what these creatures were, you didn't know where they came from, you didn't know anything for the most part. They explain and go back a bit in this movie. There's a little bit of flashback at the very beginning, but then it backs up, and goes straight to where the story is, um, and leads off exactly where the movie left off. I liked this a lot. It was pretty good. Um, I don't expect us to see a Quiet Place 3. I think it should be done. There shouldn't be another one for any reason. Um, and so I really like this one. I gave it like one because there was a couple of times that it was just like, okay. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good take on monsters and movies and post-apocalyptic type stuff. Um, so I'm glad that there's an end and we know what the monsters are and where they came from. So other than that, Mizzy, your next one.
My next one is the entire season of Being Human. And so I ended up watching it because I texted Gonzo and I was like, building my character, our topic for the night. I was like, I really want to watch Lost Girl again because, like, Dyson is amazing as a werewolf. But he was like, try watching this instead. It's tons better. But so Being Human is really fun. I like it. Josh is completely adorable and amazing. Like, he's such a sweetheart. But he's got his own issues. It is what it is. Sally, I love her story. I love her evolution. It's really good. I see why Gonzo and it's aimed more towards him and his like tastes as opposed to Lost Girl, because Lost Girl I feel like is geared towards girls in their early to mid 20s who enjoy reading fan fiction, and obviously Gonzo is not that at all.
He's not?
No.
No. But so I don't feel like you could actually compare the two because they're so different. That being said, right, Banyan? No, I am sure. I can confirm. But so I enjoyed it. Obviously, I binge watched the entire first season, and then I got upset because I couldn't continue to watch the second season because it's not available on one of the streaming services that I have. But yeah, again, one space herpy. It's nice. I like it.
We're also, but there should be let people know this is the U.S. version, not
Yes.
the BBC version. I tried watching the BBC, but I watched the U.S. version first, and I was like, nah. The U.S. version was just to me was just better. I really liked it too. I liked all the seasons. It kind of drug on at the end, um, but you could tell that they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get canceled. Let's wrap up the stories." And they didn't get canceled. They let them have a finish to the story. So I thought that was really good.
Well, that gives me a little bit of hope, at least, for whenever I do eventually watch them.
Yeah, they're the it's like second to last season. It kind of like drug a little bit, and you're like, okay. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, next season's our last season. Oh, let's hurry up and finish these stories, type thing. So I enjoyed it a lot too. Kathy, you got any more?
I do.
Go for it.
So the second movie that I ended up watching, and it was kind of an accident, but it turned out to be like a George Clooney weekend. And the theme of the weekend was goats, as it turned out. But the next one I watched was The Men Who Stare at Goats. And so George Clooney, Ewan McGregor, uh, psychic soldiers. Jeff Bridges was amazing uh, in this movie, and just the premise of it. And I love George Clooney's character. It was fantastic. These guys going off to Iraq to. Uh, I don't know if I could even explain it. It was just so bizarre. It was, you know what's funny though? It's not as bizarre as Burn after reading. That that actually was more bizarre than this. This was all about projecting your mind, using your mind as a weapon. The secret government army project to make super soldiers who are like super psychic. Yeah, remote viewing and giving goats heart attacks. This is Moe's magic. Yeah, and he never forgave himself for giving that goat, stopping that goat's heart. He's guilty. And then, at the end, it was all about redemption. And they just, I'm not good at explaining this one.
It's a pretty weird one to begin with.
Yeah, it was fun though. It really was fun. I really enjoyed it. In the end, when the Ewan McGregor's character decides to run at the wall, um, I personally like to think that when he runs through the wall, the place in which he appears after he disappears through the wall, the place in which he appears is wherever Clooney and Jeff Bridges' characters ended up when they took the helicopter and went off. That's in my headspace. That's what happened. So, but it was fun, and I give that one 0 space herpes. It was weird,
It was
and,
very weird.
and interesting and fun, and I laughed my ass off when the entire army base was on LSD. Also, when a soldier decided that in order to open your mind, you had to go and live with a bunch of hippies. That cracked me up. Like naked hot tubbing and dropping acid and all this stuff to get in touch with, your mind. It was amazing.
My last one is Walking Dead season 10, I think is what it is. It's the newest season that hit Netflix this week. Um, I used to watch Walking Dead all the time back when I had AMC, but I don't have it anymore. So, I switched over and had to, forget about it. So I only got to watch like the first 3 episodes of the last season. So came on Netflix this week, and I'm glad that next season is the last season. It's gone on long enough. Um, I like it as a TV show. I like the characters. I like the story, but it's time for the series to be over with. There's only so much more that you can do. That hey, this is the next badass group that's going to try to kill all the people, or this is all the zombies from hell are going to come through. It's just like it's time. I know they didn't follow the comic the way it was supposed to, which is okay. They created their own thing. Um, I'm happy with it. I'll watch the newest season because I'm able to watch it now on another streaming service that someone gave me. So I'm happy with it all. I can't wait to see how they end it and what they're going to end. But I'll be glad that there's going to be an end to it. This last season, I give it 1.5 because for the most part, the entire season was good, except for like the last 3 episodes. They did a bunch of flashback episodes to get you to feel for the characters, and I'm like, I already feel for the characters. I've been watching them for 10 seasons. I don't need more flashbacks, but that's just how it is.
Flashbacks are to save the budget for something that's extravagant.
Yeah. So, other than that, I had a good time. It was great. I'm glad that like I said, there's going to be an end. I'm ready for it end. I'm ready to see what the end's going to be like, so we can have more fun. So, other than that, anybody else got anything?
Did you have that YouTube thing you wanted to talk about, Mizzy?
Oh yeah. So I was watching John stream MechWarrior Online. I think it was Friday, and he had said something about the phrase "hippity hoppity, get off my property," and I was like, "What? That's hilarious!" And so he ended up sending me the video where it was mentioned in like some lore for MechWarrior Online, and it's not really a whole lot to it. I just thought it was hilarious, hippity hoppity, get off my property. So that's really it. Made me laugh. So. Yes,
And
and
just
John.
posted the link to it.
I'd say it's about 20 minutes in. Don't quote me though.
Well, guys, that is going to be it for our episode tonight. We want to thank Captain Mizzy for coming on and filling John's shoes and talking about
They
RPGs.
were big shoes.
Thank you, Mizzy. Yeah, John's shoes are big.
Other than that, we will be back next week where we will be discussing Loki in detail with spoilers. So you have been warned.
All the spoilers. Go watch it. It's amazing.
Yes. We will be sending you off to Big Jim Slade Gaming once we get all this done. So stick around for that. Make sure you go over there, give him a shout, give him a holler, give him a like, give him a follow.
I believe tonight he is painting miniatures.
Yes.
What?
Yep, he is painting tonight.
Nice.
Not a thing that he does very often.
No. That is awesome.
So, for Brother Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm Kathy.
I am not John.
Good night.
I feel like that's what our music should be at the end. Or da 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 da.